Moskva. Restaurant, lunchtime. Packed. Right near the train station. The high speed, right into Moskva. The German. I'm straight. I'm a madman. Yeah, they got into Leningrad eventually. They did. That AMG Mercedes-Benz building right in the middle of town in St. Petersburg is all smoked glass. God, it's beautiful. You got to love those Germans. Not a bit, do I. Speaking as a Slovak man from my father's side, no. Ain't got no love for the Germans. Nope. Pride. The Japanese suffer that too, greatly. Pride. Fortunately, I know that it's a self-leveling. It's a self-leveling tool that you wield. It will turn on you. Sorry, I'm bad, man. Yeah, Moskva, it's packed. And so much so you got to turn sideways to get out because it's like San Andreas Fault coming in, going out. Well, this very large Russian man sitting at the table talking to his friend happens to look up and see my woman. Because by then I put the engagement ring on her finger, and since I'm a watchmaker, I have master jewelers for friends. So you can imagine the size of stone that I can get, and I'm getting a better price than you, nanny boo-boo. Much better price. Wholesale. I put an engagement ring on that girl's finger. On her right hand, by the way. That's how they do. Men and women, right hand, ring finger. Unless she's divorced, then she puts a band on her left hand. Ring, what we would consider our ring finger. Strange. Well, they are commodities, really, females. That's all they are there in Russia, and a lot of Slovak places. A woman is a commodity. She's a second-class citizen. That's probably why they wear the ring, to let the man know, yeah, I've already been down the road at least once, and I'm available, and I'll take any man that'll take me. It's so perverse. These are some of the most beautiful women, white women, you will see in your life in St. Petersburg, Russia. Much more so than Moskva. It's much more continental, the city. Before it became a closed country. Yeah. I've never seen so many beautiful women in St. Petersburg, Russia. And baby strollers. Yeah, and you're treated like commodities. What's that line from Austin Powers where he's talking to the Japanese guy? And the Japanese guy is saying to him, yes, in our culture, women come second. And of course, Austin Powers, like, he gets that shit-eating grin. He goes, and sometimes not at all, baby. Sometimes, hell, you women are so complicated. You're so much in your head. How gentle I must be, how patient I must be, how I must set the stage, set the nest, make sure you feel secure. Because that's the only way you'll fall for me and let me catch you. And I do so relish that. Having you fall for me and letting me catch you. Because in that moment, I do not feel ugly. So, by this point, I know I got that rock on her finger. And never ask a Russian woman, if I buy you a fur, will you wear it? Because you will never see an eye roll like you'll see. So, by that point, she had the Red Fox stroller on that I had purchased from Alaska. Gotten through customs properly, paid the duties. It's pelting. It's an industry. Get off your high horse. It feeds Inuits. It feeds human beings, okay? Get off your high damn horse. All of these animals were placed under my dominion. I did not lose that when I lost eternal life. They are still under my dominion. I am master of all living things on this planet, aside from my brothers and sisters. So, my little rant, side rant. Yeah, this big Russian man, he was talking to another man. They were sitting at the table. I mean, everything's close proximity. This restaurant's packed. And he looks up at my woman just a little too long. And when I say a little too long, I mean way too fucking long. For this boy's liking. I didn't give a shit. He looked like he was 260, 270. Yeah, I didn't give a shit. When I, San Andreas, fall up next to him, getting past the incoming line, I reached out and I placed my hand on his shoulder, knowing he probably didn't speak a word of English. They usually don't. The citizens, as a rule, they don't. Most of them don't speak a lot of English. And I placed my hand on his shoulder, really not caring if he understood the words or not. Because I knew if he tried to get up, I was going to break his collarbone with my elbow. So, because that's the only way I can stop him. He's big. It's a guy thing, ladies, okay? Because the testosterone's flowing at this point. In me, it is. Because he's looking at my property. That's right, my property. Although I do not treat my property as a commodity. I treat it as my other half. And I looked down directly into his eyes, this large man's eyes, and I said, wait, I got a sneeze coming on. Is it 2? It's always 2. Sometimes it's 3. Okay, that's going to be 3. Is it 3 or 7? Okay, 2, 3, or 7. Keep that, remember that. Oh, you're not going to be an even number 4. No, okay. I'll cheat. I'll put my finger under my nose. I don't want to break my streak of 2, 3, or 7s. Can't have a 4 in there. And I looked into his eyes, and he looked up at me. And I said, she's mine. Now, he probably didn't understand a word of that. He understood every single sound. May not have understood the words, but one man to another, out of respect, mutual respect, he understood the words. You looked a little too long at my woman. Yeah, the woman from Croatia. I think she asked to follow me first. I didn't ask to follow her. I'm an egomaniac. I ain't following you. I'm the shit. I am the watchmaker the doctor is in. And you will be lucky if I share a vignette with you on how to repair a stitch and switch on a model X and Frax. Because that's why I'm here, to share my knowledge in an industry, horology, which is shrinking quickly and turning into plastic, disposable plastic watches that you will pay a lot of money for, by the way. I have a lovely Blue Angels Navahawk over here, Citizen. Perpetual timer. Hooked into the Colorado Observatory. That sucker, it matches my iPhone. And it has hands, analog. It has stick hands. It has real hands. It's all plastic inside. I would just order a new movement. There's nothing to repair in there. So it's going away. So if you have a vintage timepiece, yeah, you got trouble now, especially after the pandemic. I'm at 59, a baby dinosaur. I'm the baby at 59. Think about that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she asked to follow me because I looked at her page. I didn't see it. But as the time went by, we started to communicate a little bit. This is another person, Croatian woman. And I noticed by looking at her Instagram profile, I'd learned she was married. I think we chit-chatted a bit, message. And I began to scrutinize her and look at her profile, and I realized that there was a ton of pictures on there of her looking forlorn and in need of a man. Oh, the proverbial sitting on the brick wall with the wind going through her hair and the long flowing skirt. Oh, the tight t-shirt where you only see a midriff. Oh, but there's a watch in the picture. Oh, there's a watch. There's a wrist shot in the picture of a watch on her wrist in front of a tight fucking t-shirt. She had a nice body. Kind of horse-facey, but she had a nice body. Oh, yeah, a picture here and there of a cuckoo clock or a this or that timekeeping device. And one little picture at the end, one little picture at the end, one of a man, of her with a man. One in the hundreds of pictures of her primarily. I know, I'm character assassinating now because I'm calling it like I see it. The truth. One picture of him. And I said to her, I led her down the primrose path because it was, I try to do the God Daddy thing because that's what works the best. For me, the Jack in the Box routine. I spring out. Like with Nathan and King David. You are that man. So I lead her down the primrose path over the days and weeks, passing occasionally. And finally I see the time is ripe. And I say to her, I looked at your profile and I know you're married. And might I say, you are a very attractive woman. And she begins to tell me, yeah, thank you. And yes, I've had to block a lot of men because they've said, not nice things to me here on Instagram. Oh, God. Here's one of those moments. The one I live for. The one that if I could have a moment like this once a month, every 30 calendar days, Gregorian calendar, I would want to live forever. I think I started off first. How much was that? 10,000? No, I'd want to live forever. Oh, God. How my brothers and sisters deliver themselves up to me on a silver platter. It's so beautiful. I guess I've been given wisdom and insight by the Lord because the Lord knows I'm a lot like my earthly mother. I do not judge. I just love you. And I accept you as you are, especially if you're broken. The misfits, I attract them too, as my mother did. It was a teachable moment, and I had set this up. I'd spent some time for this because I wanted to make sure the seed got planted. Because I knew it would be my last time talking to her. I knew it. And I said, I find it interesting that, I know you're a married woman. And I've looked at your profile pictures on here on Instagram. You're a watchmaker, horologist. Okay, and I see some pictures here of a cuckoo clock here, or an alarm clock there, or here a clock, there a clock, everywhere a clock. Not really. Everywhere I see, I didn't say all that to her, but I said I see a picture of it. I said, but most of the pictures I see are of you looking available. And looking very attractive indeed. Now, I know you're a married woman, and you've already told me that you've had to block a lot of men because they've said things that weren't nice to you. Perhaps even some lewd things. Well, when you dress like that, in these very tight t-shirts, or you place yourself on Hadrian's Wall, tight arrangement in Croatia somewhere, not in England, sorry, the remnants of a wall, cobblestone, in a long flowing dress on a spring morning day with the wind whipping through your hair. I can only imagine because it's a photo. And I see picture after picture like that. I don't see you as a married lady. And I can also understand why you would have to block some men, because if you are a married lady, I'm sure they've made advances, and some of them probably weren't even lewd. Some of them were probably genuine, honest questions like, hey, where do you live? Would you like to go out sometime? Yeah, she blocked me. Which, of course, is what I expected. I didn't expect a person to be able to understand the truth as seen from an outsider, because they are so immersed in their ego, they cannot see outside of it. And so I did her a favor. I showed her ugliness, what she was doing. Did it stick? I hope so, because I played it up. I never cared to have somebody else go back and look at her page. I didn't give a shit. The message, I had delivered the message. I had convicted her. I had turned on the kitchen light and caught the mouse eating the breadcrumbs. And she knew it, and I knew it. And that was enough. He who dies with the most toys wins. Yeah, there's a bumper sticker. He who dies with the most toys wins. That's one of my favorites. Not my favorite. I think I've shared that with you already. Yeah, it's all about me, really, isn't it? Yeah, I guess it really is. At the end of the day, it's all about me. His name was Danny. I want to say he was 7, 8. Oh, he was Dennis the Menace, for sure. Incarnate. Even blonde hair. Cute little kid. Alex brought him over. Workmate of my mother's. Mom always kind of had the hots for Alex. He was much younger, but he was a drunk too, who was drinking himself to death. And you tend to pick the same type of person. Newsflash for you. Listen, I'm going to repeat it. You tend to pick the same kind of person. Man, the wealth of knowledge that AA has imparted to me. Not spiritual, but just living. Which you need to know that too, don't you, while you're here? And so I can only assume that Alex, being the tender gentleman he was, got involved in a relationship with a woman who needed a break from this hellion, because she's probably a single mother, and she wanted to go fuck a Chad somewhere. And you've got this lovely beta male here, this lovely sensitive man who's willing to take this terror off your hands for an afternoon, again, so that you can go fuck a Chad. Am I reading something into that? I knew nothing about the woman, but yeah, I can kind of piece things together. Doesn't take a genius to see that one either. She at least wanted some alone time. How's that? With somebody else, probably. She wanted to be alone with somebody else. How's that? Beta males. Just go ahead and cut their nuts off now. Yeah. This kid was everywhere. In the kitchen, in the living room, down the hall, breaking shit. And I finally said to him, Danny, come here for a moment, Danny. I made sure I had eye contact with him. I said, if you do not simmer down and calm down, I will spank you. Message went in. Now, I'm taking a real big risk here. This kid's not mine. The state of Maryland. This is the 90s. I'm taking a real big risk here. But I could assimilate what was happening. And I knew that there was still time for this child. And so I threw caution to the wind. That is my hide, legally. And I spoke those words to this young man, this little boy. I said, if you do not change your behavior and calm down now, I will spank you. 20 seconds. He tested me. I grabbed him safely, probably by his shoulder, and then put my other hand around his hip on the opposite side, picked this little boy up, put him over my knee, my thigh, and I gave him 2 swats. And I know he felt it because my palm was hurting. I mean, I gave him 2 swift swats with the palm of my hand. Women, ladies, listen to me. This is called corporal punishment. Well, for the rest of that evening, before Danny breathed, he looked at me first. Am I telling you that because I take some kind of sick pleasure out of dominating some little 6-year-old, 7-year-old boy and putting the fear of God into him? Am I telling you that story for this reason? Fuck no. You stupid, stupid people. Remember, I'm in the group. I'm in the group. Whenever I start hitting on you or cutting on you, I'm including myself because I'm an ignorant butthead. My God, you're dumb. We're dumb. I didn't do it to have dominion over this child. I did it to teach this child a lesson, an invaluable lesson. I could see he was still malleable at his tender age. And I warned him, incorrect behavior shall be punished. He tested because he's obviously tested all of his life, and he's been victorious because he's probably got a single mother that likes to fuck chads and throws the kid off to whomever she can. I'm really character assassinating this woman, and I've never met her, so I'm probably right. I'm good at that, seeing across distances of space and time. Somebody gave me that ability. Or it was thrust upon me. Now listen to me. It's called corporal punishment. It's effective. Spare the rod, spoil the child. You doubt me on that? You think I'm just some old fuck out of touch with reality? Then I got one word for you, and I'll end on that. One word. Go and Google it and watch some of this man's work. It's fine work. When talking about a child being raised in the way it should be. And this man, a stand-up comedian, stands head and shoulders above every other comedian I've ever seen. By leaps and bounds. And I love me some Richard Pryor. Now, I can get down to the Bicentennial Nigger. Oh, yeah, that album is classic for stand-up comedy. Did I say the N-word? Too bad. You're an adult. Live with it. It's a word. As Martin Luther King would say, will be judged by the content of his character. These are words to me. They mean nothing. I only use them to express my emotions. Or to express the truth. You see how it's being whitewashed? Try to ask Alexa about Bicentennial Nigger, the masterful piece of artwork by Richard Pryor, who himself later admitted he lamented using the N-word that much. But when you start to censor an artist's work, we got problems. Do you think I like that piss Christ? Do you think I like that piss Christ? That crucifix upside down in a jar of urine that we've all heard about now was proudly put out at some New York metropolitan art, modern art, and it was heralded. Just don't go look at it. You know what that is. That's man's contempt. The artist obviously has a contempt for God because the artist is a man and nothing more, see? They don't have a love affair with God, or she doesn't. They're just a man. And so they hate God. It's natural to hate God. Your flesh hates God because God is going to punish it with death. It's not that hard to figure out. I'd have a resentment too against somebody if I knew at some point in the future and only he knows, yeah, I'd have a problem with that too. The more you try to reason with a child who's busy testing their limits, trying to learn their limits, trying to learn their pecking order on the hierarchical scale, and you allow them to run free. Damn you.